Most people overpay for car insurance, not because they're careless, but because switching feels like too much hassle. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry compares rates side by side from over 50 top insurers and helps you switch with ease. Jerry even tracks market rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Switch with confidence. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/ACAST today.
Hi, this is Robert Mays from The Athletic. This time of year always gets busy, but that's when having Peloton in my life really makes a difference. The new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ, helps me fit in great workouts no matter what's on my schedule. It's Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move. Peloton IQ plans your workouts, tracks your progress, and corrects your form so you can train smarter and make the most of your time. Let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
Parles-tu français?
¿Hablas español?
Parli italiano?
If you've used Babbel, you would. Babbel's conversation-based technique teaches you useful words and phrases to get you speaking quickly about the things you actually talk about in the real world. With lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts and voiced by real native speakers, Babbel is like having a private tutor in your pocket. Start speaking with Babbel today. Get up to 55% off your Babbel subscription right now at babbel.com/Acast. Spelled BABBEL.com/Acast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
If you're a smoker or vapor ready to make a change, you really only need one good reason. But with Zyn nicotine pouches, you'll discover many good reasons. Zyn is America's #1 nicotine pouch brand. Plus, Zyn offers a robust rewards program. There are lots of options when it comes to nicotine satisfaction, but there's only one Zyn. Check out Zyn.com/find to find Zyn at a store near you. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
This is the Daily Tech News for Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. We tell you what you need to know, give you some of the important context around that, and help each other understand.
We're dripping with context today.
Dripping.
It's dueling AI model announcements, Gemini 3 and Microsoft Agent 365, which brings AI coworkers into teams. Plus, Justin Robert Young stops by to tell us why a U.S. congressman is complaining about AI in video games.
Oh boy, if you don't like AI, I'm really sorry. I'm Jason Howell.
I'm Tom Merritt.
Let's start with what you need to know with the big story. Look, we don't create the news. We just report on it.
If you don't like the news, go out and make some of your own.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Microsoft announced during its Microsoft Ignite conference, which is kind of taking place as we record this anyways, the arrival of AI into Windows. We've been kind of hearing a little bit about this leading up to now, and now they're basically announcing it. A new dedicated Copilot taskbar icon is going to be presented for users. So you can do things like you can summon various AI agents across all of your apps, across your devices, connected devices, that sort of stuff. This includes Copilot agents. There's also like troubleshooting agents, even third-party agents. Overall, it's just all about agents, let's say. Other features include natural language file search, document analysis, writing assistance, as that's just table stakes, and the ability to launch Copilot by voice by saying, and I think I can say this right now because nobody has this, but hey, Copilot. Is this the last time I can say that on this podcast, Tom?
It might be. The Copilot Plus people are going to be really upset with you.
Okay. Well, so that's kind of the first part. And I mean, they've got a lot of, news dripping out, because of Ignite, but maybe we start there and talk a little bit about, the AI and the agents that are coming for our operating system.
Yeah. Honestly, I look at this and explain to me, Jason, because I know you've been covering this very closely. Why this is not just adding right click to open in Copilot, right? Like that's what this seems like to me, is a lot of features that like, oh, if you enjoy using Copilot, you can now use it easier. We have ways for you to get your files without having to drag them over into it manually. Just feels like they're taking a feature that's already there, Copilot stuff, and adding easier ways to use it, which I don't feel like should be all that controversial. It's more like, oh, I'm surprised you didn't have some of these things already. Cool.
Yeah, totally. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, these companies, Microsoft included, have a ton to gain from an increase in usage of these tools, and making it easier, putting it in places where it's impossible to ignore it, like the right click kind of puts it into a position of, well, if you know it's there, then you know to use it, versus like a button that you look at and you go, well, you know what? This is integrated and I can't not see it because it's presented for me right there. Now, granted, I'm not a Windows user, these days, so I'm not entirely certain from a first person perspective what it's like to be presented with that kind of stuff inside of Windows right now, before versus after these changes.
Well, I do use Windows, and frankly, they have too many buttons. So one more probably isn't gonna bother me all that much. I get the sense from a lot of people that if this was 1998, well, people would be complaining about Windows for other reasons, but you wouldn't complain so much about like, oh, I can now access Notepad easier. I can now access Word easier. Copilot's just another system. I guess people just, if you hate Copilot, you don't like that there's more ways to do it. I don't get the sense looking at this that it's going to clutter up my screen any more than Windows is already kind of cluttered up.
Right. Yeah. No, I think you're touching on a pretty, a point that I continue to recognize, which is there is just the contingency of users that if it has the, let's put in air quotes, the stench of AI attached to it, any way of bringing that further into the experience is going down the wrong road. Versus if you remove the AI kind of the kind of understanding of this is an AI feature that does these things, and you just look at it through the view of, I think, kind of what you're talking about, which is here's a new feature that does a really cool thing in your operating system.
Well, like Click to Do. Click to Do lets me just click on an image and send it to Copilot. Now, granted, if you don't use Copilot, you don't care about that, but then that's bean soup. It's not for you. You don't need to comment on it. Right. If you do use Copilot, that's great. Like, this is an easier way for me to get a piece of image or text in there. If File Explorer letting you select a file and say, hey, can you do something in Copilot with this? Can you analyze it? Can I ask you a question about it without having to go into Copilot? This is all good stuff for Copilot users.
Yes, indeed. And I think there's also kind of a leaning in that's happening here, and I'm sure we'll see it on on Mac OS as well at some point, which is really leaning into the voice control mechanism, making that more of a top tier.
That's a little making fetch happen. I understand that it's a great demo. I don't know how often people actually use that stuff, to be honest. And you can use the Copilot button as well, which sometimes is faster to just, if you have that button, just tap that instead of having to think through your brain to say, hey, Copilot.
Totally.
That's just
it'll be interesting. Another big announcement, from the event is the arrival of something called Agent 365, which is basically a new control plane for managing AI agents across the enterprise. And, it gives it's kind of an interesting idea or concept. It gives every agent within the enterprise an ID, a registry entry, access policies, telemetry, and it's all in service of giving IT what they need to see what agents actually exist in the system, what data they're actually touching, and how they behave across those systems and how they interoperate with human users. Agents will actually appear alongside human workers inside of Microsoft's apps. They'll be disclosed, so you'll know it's an agent, so there's no confusion. But Jeff Jarvis and I had a conversation with Charles Lamanna, who leads this entire effort, and is, has put a bunch of work into Agent 365. You can find that on the AI Inside podcast. Our full interview went up about an hour ago. But it was really interesting talking to him about this, like, in a world, that is right now, where you're in a meeting and you see these little headshots of the people you actually know. And then there's also agents kind of sitting in those spots as well. And yes, they are disclosed, but they have certain, rules or certain tasks and roles the way, your friend Marge does or whatever. I don't know why Marge was the name that came to mind, but there you go. There's
Marge, and then there's May I urge right next to it.
Right.
I think this is an essential piece, if Microsoft wants enterprises to deploy agents, if they want that to be useful, you have to be able to monitor them well. So, IT pros, feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. Let us know your honest opinion about this. If you're like, yeah, when agents are useful, I need to be able to do this. And does this do all the things you need to do to feel comfortable letting agents operate on your platform? Because you need to make sure that they're not mistakenly grabbing data that they shouldn't be able to, that they're not carrying out actions that they shouldn't be able to, or that have not been authorized by another employee. If you can do that, which is what this is meant to do, then having them show up in teams so you can easily say like, oh, well, let's let the agent do that. You could get some stuff done in meetings. Sometimes you're in that part in a meeting where you're like, well, let's see if Kelly can get back to us tomorrow with the results on that. Instead, you could just ask Kelly AI, do that now. And in less than a minute, you've got the answer you were looking for, and you got a more productive meeting as a result. Yeah,
just sick the agent on it.
Just let the agent process it and give us an answer, right?
Totally. While we're talking about the other things. Another thing that Charles pointed out during our conversation, he told us that Microsoft runs more than 130,000 internal agents, and that's increasing by, I don't know how many thousands a month, tens of thousands a month.
That's a big number. I don't know what that number means, though.
Yeah, totally.
Is that
well, it's kind of like when companies say we, programmed 90% of our blah, blah, blah with our AI coding tool. It's like, okay, or what does that really mean?
I have 1 million processes running across the,
a million is a big number
right now. I'm like, that's a big number, but is 130,000 a lot of agents? How often do they get used? What productivity expansion do they have? Especially in Microsoft, I imagine they would run a lot of agents because a lot of people would be testing agents to make sure they dog food this stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. Interesting stuff, though. The interesting kind of window into the kind of where we're stepping into with the enterprise and what work looks like,
Yeah. Well, arguably an even bigger announcement coming from Gemini. We'll talk about that in a second. First, I wanted to thank the folks who make this show possible. Ali Sanjabi, A.B. Puppy, Dale Mulcahy, and you. Thank you for being the person who supports us at patreon.com/DTNS, making it possible for us to keep this enterprise going no matter what happens in the rest of the world with advertising and commercials and all of that. And our newest patron is Ani B. Welcome, Ani B.
Welcome, Ani.
Good to have you along. Thanks for joining us.
You've reached peak couple energy when your undies match. MeUndies Match Me has you both covered, literally, in super soft ultramodal undies, socks, PJs, and loungewear. Festive prints? Check. Cozy vibes? Double check. And right now, it's deal season. Get up to 50% off site-wide for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Take your couple game to the next level with MeUndies Match Me. To get deals up to 50% off, go to MeUndies.com/ACAST. Enter promo code ACAST. That's MeUndies.com/ACAST. Code ACAST.
Hi, this is Robert Mays from The Athletic. This time of year always gets busy, but that's when having Peloton in my life really makes a difference. The new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ, helps me fit in great workouts no matter what's on my schedule. It's Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move. Peloton IQ plans your workouts, tracks your progress, and corrects your form so you can train smarter and make the most of your time. Let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
Most people overpay for car insurance, not because they're careless, but because switching feels like too much hassle. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry compares rates side by side from over 50 top insurers and helps you switch with ease. Jerry even tracks market rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Switch with confidence. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/ACAST today.
Dungeons and Dads is brought to you this week by eBay. On eBay, every find has a story. Like if you're looking for a vintage band tee, not just a tee, the band tee. You wore it everywhere until your ex stole it. Now you're on eBay, and there it is. Same tee from the same tour. The things you love have a way of finding their way back to you, especially on eBay. Where else can you find that mint trading card you've searched everywhere for? Or your first car, the one you wish you never sold? Has to be eBay. Shop eBay for millions of finds, each with a story. eBay, things people love.
This holiday season, connection with the kids we love is the best gift of all. Right now, kids on average are spending between 5 to 9 hours a day on screens. And studies link heavy use to rising anxiety and depression, with social media being at the center of it all. That's why Gab makes kid-safe phones and watches. No internet, no social media, just the right features for their age. With Gab's Tech in Steps approach, kids get the right tech at the right time. So if a phone is on your child's wish list, make it a Gab, the gift of safe connection. For an exclusive holiday offer, visit gab.com/getgab and use code GETGAB. That's GABB.com/getgab. Gab. Tech in Steps. Independence for them. Peace of mind for you.
All right, there's more we need to know today. Let's get to the briefs.
All right, like I said, Google announced Gemini 3, new series of models that they say will be smarter and more accurate. Gemini 3 Pro is multimodal. Natively multimodal. So it can process text, images, and audio at the same time. Doesn't break it up into separate queries and then try to unify it. Google used the example of being able to translate photos of recipes into another language and then make it into a cookbook, all from one query. There's also something called generative interfaces that lets you create a magazine-style interface from data using a mode called visual layout. This comes along with the experimental dynamic view, which is a generative UI that Gemini 3 can use to make web pages, game tools, and other apps in response to a query. Similarly, kind of that, but times 10, is Google Anti-Gravity, which is available in free public preview on Mac, Windows, and Linux. That is outside of Gemini and can plan and execute complex end-to-end software tasks simultaneously on your behalf while validating its own code. That one can use Gemini 3 Pro, Gemini 2.5 computer use, and Nano Banana, Gemini 2.5 image, as well as other third-party models. So you can bring in Claude Sonnet 4.5 or OpenAI's GPT-OSS. In addition to the integrated development environment that this would have, as you might expect, it also has a manager view so that you can control multiple agents at once. Google says it changed the tone of Gemini 3 Pro as well. They call it, and I quote, smart, concise, and direct, trading cliche and flattery for genuine insight, telling you what you need to hear, not just what you want to hear. That will be a nice change. Gemini 3 Pro will come to all users in the Gemini app, and paying subscribers will get Gemini 3 Pro in search. So to do that, you'll need to choose the thinking option from the model dropdown. And when you do, it will present more visual elements like images and tables, understand the intent of your query better. That's something they think Gemini 3 Pro is better overall at. It will be able to surface information it wouldn't have before. This mode will come to free users eventually with lower limits on how many times you can use it. But right now, it's just for the paying subscribers. There's an experimental feature, two more things, an experimental feature of Gemini Agent that can do things for you within the Gemini app, like organize your emails or research and book travel. Google AI Pro and Ultra subscribers can try that one out now in the US as well. And finally, Gemini 3 does better on benchmarks, currently topping LM Arena, as you might expect. And Gemini 3 Deep Think not only outperforms Gemini 3 Pro on humanity's last exam, but it racks up some wins on a bunch of other tests as well. And that one will be available to Ultra subscribers. So that's the top of the Gemini 3 model series here.
So nothing going on in the world of Google today, then, apparently.
Just a revolution in Gemini. That's all.
I don't know. You know, I've really come to use Gemini for research tasks, you know, and Gemini just has a wonderful large context window that makes certain aspects of what I aim to use AI for. I'm able to turn to it and more often than not get kind of what I'm looking for. So I think a big, major release coming from Google on Gemini is actually pretty notable. I'll be curious to play around with it. I've logged in to see, and I know they said it's access to everyone day one, but I don't have access to it. I've tried it.
It's probably by the end. By the time most people hear our voices, everybody will have it. It's one of those things where it hasn't rolled out to everybody yet. Yeah.
Yeah, test
yeah,
it
me
out.
too. That always happens with us because we hear about it first, and
Totally.
and we hear about it before the code actually got pushed.
Yeah. I do think it's pretty interesting that Google is really pointing out the smart, concise, direct tone aspect. You've got OpenAI kind of on the opposite end, right? Like they did that from 4.0 to 5. And then now with 5.1, they're like, we're inserting a little bit more personality, a little bit more warmth into the thing. So they're going in different directions.
Everybody's trying to get that tone right. Right.
You know, what is the right balance? Maybe it's different per chatbot or per service that you're using, right? Because like when I'm using, to kind of get back to what I was saying about Gemini earlier, when I'm using Gemini, I'm using it for pretty serious like research. You know what? Like I'm not looking for personality when I use a Gemini, for a task. I'm using it because I want to get the information right. ChatGPT, maybe that's a different story for some users. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it will be interesting to see what the reaction is once this rolls out. Google has been in the position of catching up. And so usually when they put out a new model, it's how does it compare to GPT-5, GPT-4, whatever was out at the time, right? And what has happened with OpenAI, because they're the leader, is, hey, they said this one was going to be great, and it's not as great as I wanted it to be. I think Google can still benefit from being Avis to the OpenAI Hertz and trying harder. But this may be the last time they're able to do it. And I'm wondering if people will find it to be a better tone. I'm wondering if people will find it to be more accurate and faster and all of that. I think you won't see as much backlash against it, again, because it is the catch-up. But it does feel like they've caught up. We're at parity and we're in that like nose to nose race where, Gemini 3 might be a little better than 5.1 for the moment, but then we're going to get another one and keep going. So it's not like anybody just won AI. It's going to keep going.
Totally. No, this is just the way it is. And everyone tops LM Arena when they come out, right? I feel like they all
exactly.
do.
Right. They do, right? Otherwise they wouldn't be touting it.
Right. It's like when Google says our new Pixel phone is the best Pixel phone we've ever had. It's like, well, yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah, Grok just announced a new model, and it's better than previous Groks, but it's not topping LM Arena today.
Right. A group of Austrian researchers have exposed a WhatsApp flaw that they use to extract 3.5 billion phone numbers along with profile photos and about texts from millions of accounts. The researchers did this by inputting billions of phone numbers into its contact discovery tool, which they had discovered had no limit to how fast or how many numbers could be checked. There was no rate limiting. They were able to extract around 100 million phone numbers or 100 million numbers per hour. Apparently, Meta fixed the loophole after being notified. They applied stricter rate limiting to the tool. Meta also claims that there's no evidence of like abuse out in the real world.
This is almost a non-story if it wasn't just getting so much pickup out there, because it's a good news story, which is, hey, did you know you could brute force this thing to reveal phone numbers? This is certainly not the first system that's ever been able to be used that way. It probably won't be the last system, but the Australian researchers found it, told Meta fixed it, so it's not a problem now. So I look at this and I'm like, hey, thumbs up, the system working in this case. Good job.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, they were notified. It's done. There's no evidence of any abuse, that we know of. So great. Yeah, like you said, the system works.
Bloomberg sources say Microsoft and NVIDIA plan to invest up to $15 billion in Anthropic, tying the AI company more closely to the primary backers behind OpenAI, Microsoft and NVIDIA. NVIDIA will kick in $10 billion of that, Microsoft $5 billion, putting them in key places in Anthropic's next funding round. In return, Anthropic is going to buy $30 billion in cloud computing from Microsoft's Azure and Anthropic's Frontier Claude models. That includes Claude Sonnet 4.5, Claude Opus 4.1, Claude Haiku 4.5, all coming to Microsoft Foundry. So, yes, there's the investment. That is an important part. It's not like they're going to be majority owners, but it also means that you're going to see more integration between these. It also sees Microsoft diversify itself away from just being the OpenAI place. It's got its own models that it's trying to tout. And of course, now it's going to be able to provide Anthropic models as well. Don't get confused, though. Amazon's going to continue to be Anthropic's main cloud provider. They're not switching to Microsoft. They're just doing a little diversification of themselves, of their own.
Yeah. And then this is also in service of kind of Anthropic's, moves right now, really trying to kind of bolster its own enterprise focus, chip away at some of the industry reliance on OpenAI, that seems to be out there right now. There's just so much expansion happening right now. And I think the belief of this scaling up moment that we're in, and that is the solution, I suppose, is part of what's, fueling a lot of the bubble talk.
Well, and the bubble talk is no joke. Like, his stocks are getting hammered this week because people are starting to think maybe this is the bubble. And everybody's nervous about NVIDIA's earnings on Wednesday, which everybody's saying could point the way up or down. I don't think it's make or break. I don't think the bubble pops on Wednesday if NVIDIA has a bad earnings report. But it does show the mindset that people are thinking we are close to the top of this peak. And if NVIDIA has a good earnings report on Wednesday, then maybe we could climb a little bit more higher. But the mood is tepid right now going into this. So I expect NVIDIA will have a decent announcement, but even a decent announcement might be seen as like not good enough. So that's going to be a big deal that we'll probably talk about on Thursday's show.
Right. And finally, we have a few quick headlines that are just good to know if you want to understand the news in the future.
Yeah, Waymo's offering trips without human safety drivers only to its employees in Miami. Then they're going to do it in Dallas, San Antonio, and Orlando. This is all the next step towards launching the service for consumers in those markets.
Roblox users will be required to verify their age before using chat starting in January 2026. This is, of course, an attempt to segment users into age groups to kind of restrict communication between minors and adult users.
Mastodon's founder, Eugen Rochko, is stepping down as CEO after 10 years. He's handing leadership to a new nonprofit-run board. There'll be a new executive director, somebody who's worked with Mastodon for a long time. This is partially driven, he says, by burnout. He's like, on the one hand, he wants to make sure that he doesn't turn into a personality bigger than life, but also he says this job's really hard. So, I don't blame him.
Yeah, don't blame him at all. Google CEO Sundar Pichai says that the $1 trillion AI investment surge carries, quote, elements of irrationality, his words, arguing that no company, even Google, will be immune if a bubble bursts.
Yeah.
So
more of that bubble talk, just, from Sundar Pichai of all people. Xiaomi's electric vehicle division posted its first ever quarterly profit, 700 million yuan versus a 300 million yuan loss last quarter. So that's not going to solve all their ills, but it's certainly better than the other way.
That's progress. Meta is rolling out a mobile content protection system that's going to automatically detect and flag stolen and repurposed reels across Facebook and Instagram. That's going to give some controls to the original creator for things like blocking copies, adding attribution, and tracking performance.
Content ID for reels.
Yes, basically.
And the Connectivity Standards Alliance has released Zigbee 4.0, an updated version of its wireless mesh networking standard that includes direct setup from a smartphone, so you don't need a hub, as well as sub-gigahertz service called Suzy that is less likely to be blocked by walls. Sub-gigahertz can penetrate obstacles a little better. And real quickly, happening while we're recording the show, a U.S. district judge has dismissed the FTC claims against Meta that it created an illegal monopoly in social media, specifically by buying Instagram and WhatsApp. The FTC argued that the monopoly remains, but the judge said, we don't think so. In fact, the judge's opinion was whether or not Meta enjoyed monopoly power in the past, the agency must show that it continues to hold such power now. The court's verdict today determines that the FTC has not done so. We'll wait and see if they appeal, and if we find out more on that, we'll tell you tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the essentials for today. Now we need to dive a little deeper.
Yeah, Ubisoft says machine-generated images found in Anno 117, Pax Romana, were placeholders that should have been removed before the game was published and will be replaced with human-made artwork. Meanwhile, you've got Activision Blizzard taking heat for calling cards in Call of Duty Black Ops 7. Activision says, quote, our team uses generative AI tools to help develop some in-game assets, end quote, but has not commented further. But U.S. Representative Ro Khanna has. Why? Well, Justin Robert Young may be the producer of the official OpenAI podcast, but he's also the host of Politics. So Tom caught up with him to talk about this.
Justin Robert Young, thank you for joining us.
It is always a pleasure, Tom.
Always a pleasure, especially because you just winged your way back across an ocean just to be here on this show.
You know, whenever Tom Merritt calls, I come flitting in from wherever I was around the world.
Man, I saw a story that combined video games, AI controversy, and U.S. Representative Ro Khanna in one story. And there was only one person I could think of to ask about this, the host of Politics. On X, Representative Khanna said, in response, talking about, this controversy over Call of Duty Black Ops 7, we need regulations that prevent companies from using AI to eliminate jobs to extract greater profits. Artists at these companies need to have a say in how AI is deployed. They should share in the profits, and there should be a tax on mass displacement. Why is a U.S. representative wading in on a video game fight around AI?
Because AI is rapidly becoming the number one flashpoint in American politics. It is incredibly emotional. It is a wedge issue that can play on a lot of different levels, both white collar and blue collar. And it is currently propping up at least the stock market portion of our economy, while many people within even the AI industry, like Dario Armodi of Anthropic, continue to have a very doomer perspective on what can happen if AI is not regulated. And so what you are seeing, and this is not just for Ro Khanna, but I think for some of the people that want to start staking out claims, so by the time that, let's say, theoretically 2028 arrives, they can say we've been talking about this for many years on both sides of the aisle, and immediately, Ron DeSantis stands out on the right side of this. They want to start talking about AI and specifically human impacts of AI development as early as possible. And Ro Khanna has been a very, very active member of the discourse in many different ways, up to and including, a big win for him with the Epstein Files discharge petition. And this is no different. Yeah.
So while there are very legitimate discussions to be had about the place of generative models and machine-made art and whether this is going to create more jobs than it displaces and all of that, what it sounds like to me is the issue itself is up for grabs. And if I get this right, both sides, quote unquote, both parties in the United States are testing the we're going to protect you from the effects of AI, and neither one of them has grabbed it yet.
Well, largely because not much has happened yet. There are many, many more fears and emotions that have come from this topic than there has been actual things, for lack of a better term.
Actual results,
actual results. But at the same time, I do think that, you're always kind of fighting your last war. And there is a sense that, especially with social media, that things got too big too fast, and it would have been better if government would have taken more of an active role earlier in the growth of social media. And you can go back to the consolidation, the idea that Facebook would have been allowed to buy Instagram. That is something that is often looked in hindsight and said, we should have blocked that because Instagram would have been bigger and it would have been a bulwark against now Meta's ability to control so much influence in American politics or society in general. So combine that with the existential conversations and fears around AI, and then complicate that with the one thing that has absolutely happened is promise of this technology has been a tremendous boon to our stock market, but is it overinflated? A lot of the promise of this is on a generational build out of physical data centers and compute. That has its own question marks as to how it's regulated, how it goes about things. There is a huge intersection now between the economy, the government, and AI. We haven't seen a tremendous amount of displacement in terms of employment, and that's where Ro Khanna comes in. But there is going to be there is a political sense that you would rather be early rather than late, at least in talking about it. We'll see whether or not there is enough there to actually do anything governmentally.
Yeah, and the bubble talk has been beating up the stock market this week. All eyes on the Wednesday NVIDIA earnings announcement to see which way the wind blows for now. It's certainly not going to be the end of it, though. What I want to know from you, Justin, is if I am out there warning about the dangers of AI, am I a Democrat or a Republican? Because it usually comes down to that. One party is this and the other party is that, or at least that's the way everybody looks at it on social media. Are we going to get that kind of line drawing on this issue, do you think?
I don't believe so. I think that right now, two of the people that have been the most skeptical from a governmental perspective have been Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, who has been very skeptical about more of the infrastructure elements of data centers requiring power, requiring water. And then you've seen some of the more culture war element of this. And that's what Ro Khanna is going after. When we're talking about who made the images for Call of Duty, you are talking about a group, a subsection of Americans, gamers, that are by and large against generative AI content, the slopniks. That is something that is very emotional. And Ro Khanna will not be the first nor the last to find an internet wedge issue and plant his flag within it.
Yeah. All I will add to that is when your favorite politician says a thing about AI, keep all that in mind because that's what they're out there doing.
Well, and I think that part of it is that there are a lot of very serious issues surrounding this that, again, are developing. Yeah. And so on one hand, I think it's good that people are aware of these kinds of things, and government is going to play a role. There is nobody at the seat at this table that will say that government is not a big part of this, but there are incredible controversial elements up to and including the idea of, and this is more on the Republican DeSantis side of, is AI a bailoutable industry, which
too
is
big to fail sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. A too big to fail kind of thing. That is huge governmentally.
Yeah. Well, Justin, thank you so much for helping us get a little more understanding of what's going on with this particular controversy. If folks want to follow the wider political world, they can get great information from you. Tell them where to go.
Well, you can go to politics everywhere that you find any podcast, including YouTube and audio, and now video on Spotify. So find that there as well.
Fantastic. Thanks, Justin.
Thank you.
So, no country for old optimists.
AI being the wedge issue.
Well, or no, being the united issue. That's what it seems like. This is
sorry. No.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
No,
well, you know what else everyone can agree on? A DTNS pint glass makes a wonderful gift. In fact, R.W. Nash finally got his. He's going to report back on his road test of the DTNS pint glass. I sent one to Wentway Dow as well, so we can get an inside perspective on that. If you would like one, you want to join the club, head to dailytechnewsshow.com/store.
Most people overpay for car insurance, not because they're careless, but because switching feels like too much hassle. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry compares rates side by side from over 50 top insurers and helps you switch with ease. Jerry even tracks market rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Switch with confidence. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/ACAST today.
Hi, this is Robert Mays from The Athletic. This time of year always gets busy, but that's when having Peloton in my life really makes a difference. The new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ, helps me fit in great workouts no matter what's on my schedule. It's Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move. Peloton IQ plans your workouts, tracks your progress, and corrects your form so you can train smarter and make the most of your time. Let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
We end every episode of DTNS with some shared wisdom, and today R.W. Nash has a few thoughts on Monday's episode.
Yes, he writes, have to agree with you about Apple and its management. However, it's not Tim Cook anymore. It's Tim Apple. Thank you for the correction. Given the state of our weather forecast, we could certainly do with Google buying the Met office. However, this would be difficult as it's a government agency. Bit frosty today. Seems like Elon would want to get his Starlink into the Red Sea area. The internet will route around. Talking about the difficulties with the subsea cables there. You're absolutely right. The internet does route around. I like to say that a lot. If you got thoughts on our episode today, I bet you've got thoughts on today's episode. We got a lot of stuff you could have thoughts about it. So send us your thoughts to feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com.
Yeah, big thanks to Justin Robert Young. Thanks to R.W. Nash for contributing to today's show. And thank you, that's right, you, for being along for Daily Tech News Show. You can keep us in business by becoming a patron. Go to patreon.com/DTNS. We will see you tomorrow.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
If you're a smoker or vapor, ready to make a change, you really only need one good reason. But with Zyn nicotine pouches, you'll discover many good reasons. Zyn is America's #1 nicotine pouch brand. Plus, Zyn offers a robust rewards program. There are lots of options when it comes to nicotine satisfaction. But there's only one Zyn. Check out zyn.com/find to find Zyn at a store near you. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Hi, this is Robert Mays from The Athletic. This time of year always gets busy, but that's when having Peloton in my life really makes a difference. The new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ, helps me fit in great workouts no matter what's on my schedule. It's Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move. Peloton IQ plans your workouts, tracks your progress, and corrects your form so you can train smarter and make the most of your time. Let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.